Let's make our intentions sincerely for the sake of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. قال المصنف: الشرح أن من طرأ له الشك في وجود الله كفر. Whoever doubts about the existence of Allah commits blasphemy. وكذلك يكفر من شك في رسالة رسول من رسل الله. رسالته معلومة من الدين بالضرورة. Likewise, whoever doubts or likewise blasphemes, whoever doubts about the prophethood among or the prophethood of the prophets of Allah, whose prophethood was known in the religion by necessity, meaning that it's something that this person knows. This person knows this person to have been a prophet of Allah, and then they doubted about whether they were actually truly a prophet of Allah. So they knew this person is a prophet, and they know that the Muslims say that this person is a prophet, so they know what the religion of Islam says, and then they doubt about this person having been a prophet. This person has belied the religion. Okay, so this is kufr. It's as though they are saying all of the Muslims are wrong. أو شك في نزول القرآن على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Likewise blasphemes the one who doubts about the Quran being revealed to Prophet Muhammad, to our Master Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. أو شك في اليوم الآخر. Or this person doubts about the day of judgment. So, for example, they say, yes, I know the Muslims say that there'll be a day of judgment, but like, what if it just doesn't happen? What if we, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, what if we just go into our graves and that's it? We become dust. What if there isn't such a thing as the day of judgment? This person becomes a kafir. أو الجنة أو النار أن هذا so he doubts about paradise or about hellfire. أن هذا هل يكون أو لا, that does paradise, is there actually going to be paradise, or that will people enter paradise, will they enter hell or not? وليس المراد أن مطلق التردد هل الجنة أو النار موجودتان الآن كفر لأن ذلك ليس معلوما من الدين بالضرورة. So it's saying that what is not meant here is for a person to say, well, is paradise in existence now or not? Is hellfire existent now or not? Then this is not what is intended here. Why? Because paradise existing now, which it does, and hellfire existing now, which it does, this is not known by necessity, meaning this is not known by all people. This is not known by all people. So this may be somebody who doesn't know. There may be someone who doesn't know that paradise and hellfire exists now. Okay? So a person, however, who does know that paradise exists now, didn't the Prophet enter it, alayhi salatu wassalam? Bala, of course, when he went on the night of al-Mi'raj, on the ascension. So someone who's heard that, for example, that paradise exists now and the Prophet entered it and the souls of the martyrs enter it, and so on and so on. If after knowing that they say, well, it doesn't actually exist, after they know the Muslims say it does exist, then this is kufr, of course. وأهل الحق على أن الجنة والنار مخلوقتان موجودتان الآن. And the people of truth are upon the stance that paradise and hellfire are both created and are both in existence now. Al-Imam Abu Hanifa said in his book Al-Fiqh Al-Akbar, وَالْجَنَّةُ وَالنَّارُ مَخْلُوقَتَانِ الْيَوْمَ لَا تَفْنَيَانِ أَبَدًا. He said, and paradise and hell are created today, meaning that they are in existence even today, and they will never be annihilated. Paradise is forever, and hellfire is forever. ومن الكفر أيضا اعتقاد قدم العالم وأزليته بجنسه وأفراده كما قالت قدماء الفلاسفة، أو بجنسه فقط كما قال ابن تيمية، ووافق فيه الفلاسفة المحدثين نعم. So, and among blasphemy also is to believe that the universe is without a beginning, and to believe that the kind of universe is without a beginning, and to believe that the elements of the universe are also without a beginning, just as the old philosophers said. So that's one. Also, it's blasphemy to say that the universe is only without a beginning by kind. All of these matters here, whether a person says the universe, its kind has always existed, or to say that even the elements within it, like the skies and the arsh and other things, to say that that is also without a beginning, or to just say that it's just the kind of universe, the idea of the universe that is without a beginning, if you will, the kind of universe, sorry. All of these, they are kufr. Why? Because saying that the universe, whether by kind or elements, that it doesn't have a beginning entails, or rather insinuates, that Allah didn't create them. It insinuates that there is something in the universe, or the universe itself, that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala did not create, and hence does not own, and hence does not have any control over. That's why it's kufr. It's like saying that there is something that does not need Allah. Giving the universe the attribute of being without a beginning is attributing it with godhood. Saying about the universe that it doesn't have a beginning is like saying the universe is God. The universe. So this is shirk. This is saying that there is more than one God. They'd be saying that there is Allah, and then that there is the universe, which is supposedly without a beginning. In actual fact, if they say the universe is without a beginning, and they're claiming that that is God, then they do not believe in the uniqueness of Allah, which is that Allah doesn't have a partner. So here they'd be negating the existence of God, actually, because they'd be saying he has a partner. So they'd be saying that God doesn't deserve godhood or worship, for that matter. So all in all, if somebody says that there is something other than Allah and other than the attributes of Allah, if they say there is something that exists and has always existed and hasn't got a beginning to its existence, then this is kufr. No one is excused about this. Likewise, if somebody was to be asked, or if the topic came up and somebody said, well, I'm not sure whether the universe has a beginning or not. No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it has, maybe it doesn't have a beginning. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. This is kufr. This is kufr. This is like saying, I don't know. Does God have control over everything or not? I'm not sure. It's like saying, I'm not sure. Does God own everything or not? I'm not sure. Is everything in need of God or not, or is there something that's independent of God? This is kufr. Hope this is understood very well. It says some of the philosophers, the kuffar, they said that the universe is eternal by kind, just as Ibn Taymiyyah did. He agreed, he concurred with the early philosophers. وأجمع المسلمون على كفر الفريقين. And the Muslims unanimously agreed upon the blasphemy, upon the judgment of blasphemy against both groups. Those that said the universe is eternal by kind, and those that said the universe is eternal by kind and elements, that's one group. And the second group that said the universe is eternal by kind alone, the Muslims agreed upon the charging with blasphemy of both groups. نقل ذلك المحدث الفقيه الأصولي بدر الدين الزركشي في تشنيف المسامع كما تقدم. Who copied that, meaning who wrote about that? Who wrote about this consensus, this concurrence of the scholars? The scholar of hadith, the faqih, the usuli, the scholar of the foundations of the religion, Badruddin al-Zarkashi, in his book named Tashnif al-Masami', just as was aforementioned earlier. وكذلك يكفر من أنكر صفة من صفات الله تعالى الواجبة له إجماعا. Likewise blasphemes the one who denies an attribute among the attributes of Allah. The one that denies a necessary, intellectually necessary attribute among the attributes of Allah that he is attributed with by consensus, by the agreement of all the scholars. Like what? كصفة العلم والحياة والسمع والبصر والقدرة ولا يعذر أحد بالجهل في ذلك. And these are the attributes like the attribute of knowledge, life, sight, hearing, sight, and power. And no one is excused by ignorance in that. And this is the case for the 13 attributes. No one is excused for denying the 13 attributes or doubting about any one of the 13 attributes of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, which we previously mentioned. قال الحافظ ابن الجوزي من نفى قدرة الله على كل شيء كافر بالاتفاق. الحافظ ابن الجوزي, this is Abu al-Fadl Abdul Rahman ibn al-Jawzi. He was a Hanbali scholar, a grand Hanbali scholar, who fought off those people, the imposters, that tried to hijack the Hanbali school. He said, whoever denies the power of Allah, whoever negates the power of Allah, that Allah is attributed with power over everything, is a kafir by consensus, by the agreement of the scholars. That is the end of his statement, intaha. Narrated by Ibn Hajar in Al-Fath, Fath al-Bari, and he agreed with it, وَأَقَرَّهُ. So like that, like the attribute of power, are the other 12. Whoever negates any one of them is a kafir. أي بلا خلاف بالاتفاق, i.e. there is no difference of opinion. فإن العقل لو لم يرد نص بإثبات الصفات 13 يدرك ثبوت القدرة الشاملة لله والعلم الشامل والإرادة الشاملة ووجوب السمع والبصر له على ما يليق به وهكذا بقية الصفات 13. For indeed the intellect, even if there was no explicit text confirming the attribution of the 13 attributes to Allah, despite that the intellect, it concludes, it confirms that Allah is attributed with power, knowledge over power over everything, knowledge over everything, and an eternal and everlasting will, and that Allah must be attributed with hearing and sight in a way that befits Allah. And like that, the rest of the 13 attributes, even if there was no religious text that told us that Allah has a will and knowledge, power, sight, hearing, and so on, even if there was no religious text that told us that, the intellect would still confirm that, as it does. أما الوجه واليد والعين ونحوها مما ورد في النصوص إطلاقه على الله صفات لا جوارح فإن ذلك لا يدرك بالعقل فلا يكفر منكر هذه الصفات جهلا. As for now, the Shaykh is going to speak about some other attributes, not the 13 attributes. As for the attribute of al-wajh and al-yad and al-ain and attributes like them, like the attributes or such as the attributes that were mentioned in the religious texts, that they are attributed to Allah as attributes, not body parts, then yes, al-wajh is attributed to Allah. This word al-wajh, this has been attributed to Allah, but we don't attribute a body part to Allah. Even if the word al-wajh, one of its meanings in Arabic could be face, but we don't attribute that to Allah because face is a body part. Also, the word al-yad has been attributed to Allah. Allah revealed al-yad in the Quran. Now, even if one of the meanings, just one among the many meanings of yad, even though one of the meanings of yad is hand, we don't say hand about Allah, because a hand, a physical hand, it is not appropriate for it to be attributed to Allah. It is non-befitting So we say Allah is attributed with yad, al-wajh, al-yad, and al-ayn. Al-ayn, although one of the meanings of al-ayn is an eye, we don't say an eye about Allah, because this is a body part. This is something that has a volume, a shape, and a size. It has a corporeal form. It has an image. Allah is exalted. Allah is not like the creation. So we say Allah is attributed, yes, in the Quran and in the Hadiths with an attribute known as al-wajh and al-yad and al-ayn. And like this, these are other than the 13 attributes. Okay? They are attributed to Allah, these words are attributed to Allah as attributes, not as body parts. La jawarih. So a person shouldn't think that Allah has a face or a hand or an eye. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. These attributes, al-wajh, al-yad, and al-ayn, a person cannot come to know about them through the intellect alone. فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ لَا يُدْرَكُ بِالْعَقْلِ. A person cannot know about them through the intellect alone. فَلَا يَكْفُرُ مُنْكِرُ هَذِهِ الصِّفَاتِ جَهْلًا. So the one who denies, the one who negates, the one who says al-wajh, because this person thinks, this person knows that face cannot be attributed to Allah. So they have the correct understanding here that face, hand, and eye cannot be attributed to Allah. So they end up saying that no, Allah is not attributed with face, which is correct. But then they say, therefore, this thing that you're saying about al-wajh and al-yad and al-ayn being attributed to Allah, Allah is not attributed with them. Here this person has made a mistake. These words, al-wajh and al-yad and al-ayn, are attributed to Allah. But we don't say that it means face, hand, and eye. Okay? So whoever negates, whoever says, no, Allah is not attributed with wajh, then although they are wrong for saying this, we do not consider them to have blasphemed, because this is not something that they could have intuitively deduced. Okay? As opposed to the 13 attributes. Intuitively, they could have reasoned intellectually and then worked out that Allah is attributed with those 13 attributes. As for al-wajh, no, they couldn't have. They couldn't have. فَلَا يَكْفُرُ مُنْكِرُ هَذِهِ الصِّفَاتِ جَهْلًا. So the one who didn't know and said Allah is not attributed with al-wajh or al-yad or al-ayn, this person does not commit kufr. However, if they said that, if they denied one of the 13 attributes, then that would be kufr, because the mind, they can reach that with the mind alone. وَلْنَضْرِبْ لِذَلِكَ مِثَالًا. Let's give an example about that. شخص سمع إضافة العين واليد إلى الله تعالى. A person heard the word al-ayn and al-yad attributed to Allah, the Exalted. فأنكر, and so he denied it. لأنه لم يسمع بأن النص ورد بذلك. That's because he didn't hear that this is mentioned in the Quran, that these words are attributed to Allah in the Quran. فإنه لا يكفر. This person is not judged as a blasphemer. بل يعلم. Rather, he is to be taught. أن هذا مما ورد به النص. He is taught that this was narrated, this was mentioned in the religious texts. فإن أنكر بعد علمه بورود النص في ذلك كفر. However, if after then learning that these are attributes of Allah, if after learning and remembering that they have been mentioned in the Quran and the Hadiths, If then he denies it, after now knowing it, he remembers it and he knows it, and he denies it, now he is charged with blasphemy, because he knows it's part of the religion now. وكذلك من أنكر أن المؤمن من أسماء الله لأنه لم يعلم أن في القرآن تسمية الله بذلك فلا يكفر، بل يقال له هذا ورد شرعا تسميته به في قوله تعالى هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن الآية. Likewise, whoever is that the name Al-Mu'min is attributed to Allah, whoever denies that, it is attributed to Allah, Al-Mu'min. Whoever denies that, the same judgment applies to him, because he did not know that in the Quran, this name of Allah is mentioned, that Allah is called that. So he does not blaspheme. He is not considered a blasphemer. But it's said to him, this is what was mentioned in the religion, Allah being called Al-Mu'min. Like in the saying of Allah the Exalted, هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن. So this is attributed to Allah. فإذا قيل لشخص إن لله وجها ويدا وعينا فأنكر وقال لا يجوز، هذا غير صحيح، لأنه ما علم ورود إضافة هذا في النصوص الشرعية إلى الله فلا يكفر، إنما يكفر من نفى ذلك بعد علمه بثبوته في النص. So, if it is said to a person, Allah is attributed with wajh and yad and ayn, and because this person, he thinks to himself, wait a second, wajh in Arabic, that means face. Yad in Arabic, that means hand. Ayn in Arabic, that means eye. Then he says, no, because he, inside he has the correct belief, which is that Allah Ta'ala is not to be attributed with a face. That's kufr. It's a body part. Allah is not to be attributed with a hand. That's kufr. That's a body part. Allah is not to be attributed with an eye. That's kufr. That's a body part. So, because of this correct premise, he says, it's not permissible to say that about Allah. This is not correct. Now, he shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that you can't say wajh, yad, and ayn about Allah, because you can't say wajh in Arabic. You can say yad. You can say ayn. Because when you say in Arabic, right, as long as a person isn't intending a body part, then that's fine. But if you say it in English, someone says, oh, well, here wajh means face, and yad means hand, and ayn means eye. Here this person is making an interpretation, a literal interpretation, wal-'iyadhu billah, and attributing body parts to Allah. So if a person says, no, this is not permissible, this is not correct, so they deny wajh, yad, and ayn, because actually they didn't know that this is mentioned in the religious text. They didn't know that these words are attributed to Allah in the religious texts. Here we don't call this person a kafir. We don't call him a kafir because he didn't know. It's not like the 13 attributes. Rather, the one that is judged as a kafir is the one that denies the attribution of wajh, yad, and ayn to Allah after knowing that they're mentioned in the religious texts. أما إن لم يعلم بذكر ذلك في القرآن والحديث فإنه يقال له هذا ورد ذكره في القرآن والحديث فيجب عليك أن تصدق بذلك على معنى أن الوجه ليس جارحة كوجه الخلق أي ليس حجما، وعلى أن عين الله ليست جارحة كعين الخلق، وعلى أن يد الله جارحة كيد الخلق فيعلم بأن وجه الله ويده وعينه ليست جوارح لأن الله منزه عن الجوارح. ومن اعتقد أن لله وجها أو عينا أو يدا بمعنى الجارحة كافر. فإذا عرف هذا علم أنه لا يعذر أحد في الجهل بقدرة الله على كل شيء ونحوها من صفاته مهما بلغ الجهل بصاحبه. وكن على ذكر واستحضار لنقل ابن الجوزي الإجماع على هذا. It's quite long there, mashallah. It says, as for the one who didn't know that these words have been mentioned in the Quran and the Hadiths, then it is said to him, this was mentioned in the Quran and the Hadiths, and now you are obligated to believe in these words that they're attributed to Allah. Okay? With the meaning that al-wajh doesn't mean a body part, doesn't mean face. Okay, like the face of like the face of humans. Okay, it's not something that has a size and a shape and so on. And you have to believe that the ayn that is attributed to Allah, it's not a body part. It doesn't mean an eye, like you have an eye of a human being. No, it's not an eye at all. It's not an eye at all. And you have to believe in yad, the yad of Allah, that it's not a body part, like the hand of a person. This person is taught that the wajh of Allah and the yad of Allah and the ayn of Allah, they are not body parts. It's not a face and a hand and an eye. La, no, no, no. Because Allah is exalted. Allah is free of being attributed with body parts. And whoever believes that Allah Ta'ala has a wajh or an ayn or a yad with the meaning of a body part, i.e. they believe Allah has a face or an eye or a hand, meaning a body part, this person is a kafir. Then if this is known, then it should also be known that a person is not excused for being ignorant about Allah being attributed with power over everything. And like that, the rest of the 13 attributes. However deep his ignorance has reached. And remember, well, keep in your mind the narration, what was copied from Ibn al-Jawzi, that Ibn al-Jawzi, keep in your mind what Ibn al-Jawzi copied, what he wrote down in his book, where he narrated the consensus of the scholars upon this issue. Whoever denies one of the 13 attributes of Allah, this person is a kafir, because one can work out intellectually, they can work out using their mind that Allah is attributed with these 13 attributes. As for the other attributes, a person cannot work out. So if they deny them, if they deny other than the 13, if they deny them, they are excused, as was mentioned here. They are excused from kufr. They are excused from kufr. Otherwise, denying something mentioned in the religion, this is giving a judgment without knowledge. They shouldn't be giving judgments without knowledge. They should say, let me ask. So a person who denies one of those attributes, yeah, they're safe from kufr, but that doesn't mean they are safe from sin, because they should remain quiet until they ask. Okay. قال المؤلف رحمه الله. So also amongst the matters that are considered kufr, أو نسبة ما يجب تنزيهه عنه إجماعا كالجسم. The author said, likewise, attributing to Allah what it is necessary to free Allah of by consensus, like attributing to Allah a jism. This is kufr. So whoever, we'll explain now what a jism is. الشرح أن من نسب إلى الله الجسمية واعتقد أنه جسم أو قال ذلك كفر. Whoever attributes to Allah being a body, having a corporeal form, having a length, a width, a depth, or a size, or a mass, a volume, whoever attributes this to Allah, i.e., and believes that Allah is a body, or says that, then this person has committed kufr. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, he said, al-mujassimu kafir. This was copied by as-Suyuti in his book Al-Ashbah wal-Nadha'ir. And likewise, An-Nawawi mentioned in Al-Majmu' takfir al-mujassima, charging with blasphemy those that attribute body parts to Allah. And that is in the chapter of As-Salah, the book of prayer, Babu Sifat al-A'imma. And Ibn Hajar al-Haytami said in Al-Minhaj al-Qawim, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْقَرَافِيَّ وَغَيْرَهُ حَكَوْا عَنِ الشَّافِعِيِّ وَمَالِكٍ وَأَحْمَدَ وَأَبِي حَنِيفَةَ رضي الله عنهم القول بكفر القائلين بالجهة والتجسيم وهم حقيقون بذلك. He said that, know that Al-Qarafi and others, they narrated from Al-Shafi'i and Malik and Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Abi Hanifa, they're saying of the blasphemy of those that claim Allah is in a direction or that Allah has body parts. And they are right in that. They are right. Abu Hanifa, Malik, al-Shafi'i, and Ahmad, they all called a kafir the one that says Allah is in a direction. They all judged as a kafir the one that said that Allah has body parts. They were right in that. They were right in calling that person a kafir. What is a jism? والجسم هو كل شيء له طول وعرض وعمق كبر كالعرش أو صغر كالخردلة. A jism is anything, or it is everything that has a length, a width, and a depth. That's what a jism is. It's made up of pieces. It's got a length, a width, and a depth. Whether it was large like the arsh, or small like a mustard seed. وَكَذَلِكَ مَا كَانَ دُونَ الْخَرْدَلَةِ كَالْهَبَاءِ. And likewise is considered a body that is something even smaller than a mustard seed, like al-haba. What is that? وهو ما يرى في ضوء الشمس النافذ من الكوة الموجودة في الجدار وما هو أصغر من ذلك. Al-haba is something smaller than a mustard seed. It is what can be seen in the light of the sun that penetrates through what resembles a window that is in a wall. Sometimes when light comes through, you see the rays, don't you? And in those rays, you see dust particles. That's what a haba is. But it has, although it's very small, at a minute level, it has a length, width, and a depth. And likewise, what is less than that, that can be called a jism also. فَمَنِ اعْتَقَدَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ جِسْمٌ أو قال بلسانه إنه جسم فقد ارتد لأن الله يجب تنزيهه عن ذلك. So, whoever claims that Allah is a jism, a body, or he says that with his tongue, that Allah is a body, then he has, if he had been before that a Muslim, he has now committed apostasy. He has become a kafir. Interestingly, even Ibn Taymiyyah said that those that attribute bodily parts to Allah, they are charged with kufr. عجيب. فقال بل أكثر أهل السنة من أصحابنا. ابن تيمية يقول فقال بل أكثر أهل السنة من أصحابنا وغيرهم يكفرون المشبهة والمجسمة. Now, the people who attribute a place to Allah and body parts to Allah, they are non-Muslims. There's no valid difference in opinion about this matter. Ibn Taymiyyah here, he claims that most of Ahl Sunnah, they charge with blasphemy those that liken Allah to the creation and say he has body parts. This is not true. Not most of them. All of the people of truth say that. All of the people of truth say that. Anyone who does not call the mujassim a kafir is himself a kafir. ذكر ذلك في كتابه مجموع فتاوى ابن تيمية. فبهذا يكون شهد على نفسه بالكفر حيث إنه من رؤوس المشبهة المجسمة وهذا من جملة تناقضاته. And by this, Ibn Taymiyyah would have judged himself to be a kafir, because he is one of the heads of the anthropomorphists, one of the heads of those that liken Allah to the creation and that say that Allah has body parts. This is one of his contradictions, where he is a mujassim, and then he says most of them say kufar. It says لأن الله تعالى يجب تنزيهه عن ذلك. The one who attributes a body to Allah, this person is a kafir. Allah is exalted. Allah is free of these attributes of the creation. لأنه لو كان جسما صغيرا كالهباء لكان له مثل. Had it been the case that Allah was a small jism, something that has a length, width, and depth, like the haba that we mentioned, the particle in the sunlight, had Allah been a jism like that, then he would have had many similars. وَلَوْ كَانَ جِسْمًا كَبِيرًا, and had Allah been a large jism, something with a length, width, depth, كَالْعَرْشِ, like the arsh, لَكَانَ مِثْلًا لَهُ, then Allah would be like the arsh. He would have a like. And didn't Allah say nothing is like Allah? لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ, no thing whatsoever is like Allah. But if Allah had length, width, and depth, like the arsh, then Allah would be like the arsh and like many other things, like people, like cars and houses and animals and trees. There'd be so many likes to this thing that some people call Allah, that has a length, width, and depth. If that were the case, فَلَمْ يَصْلُحْ لِلْأُلُوهِيَّةِ, he wouldn't deserve godhood, because Allah is unique, not like the creation. But this thing has a length, width, and a depth. It's like a tree. وَكَذَلِكَ لَوْ كَانَ مِثْلَ شَيْءٍ مِمَّا بَيْنَهُمَا, likewise, had Allah been something that has a length, width, and a depth, that is a size between the particle in the sun and between in size the arsh he wouldn't have deserved godhood. He would have had many similars and likes. ولا عبرة بقول بعض المؤلفين إن الذي يعتقد أن الله جسم لا يكفر. And there is no consideration at all, no consideration at all given to some authors who claimed that the one who says, the one who believes that Allah is a jism, has length, width, and depth, then he is not judged as a kafir. No weight is given to this saying at all. Saying that itself is kufr, is kufr. Making that claim that it's not kufr if someone says Allah has length, width, and depth, that Allah has a physical hand, that Allah is in the sky. If someone says, oh, this is not kufr, then this person saying itself is kufr. They are themselves judged as a kafir for that. وذلك لأن الجسم يعني إيه ده? So someone says about Allah Ta'ala that Allah is this thing in the sky. Okay, even if someone has the belief that Allah is without a place, which is the correct belief, right? That Allah is without a place. Then if they say, well, anybody who says that Allah is in a place, I'm not going to call them a kafir. A'udhu billah. They worship something. You would say to this person, they worship something that you know not to be Allah. You believe Allah is without a place. That person is worshipping something that they say is in the sky. You know that that's not Allah that they're worshipping. And you're saying they're not kafir? إيه ده? What's that, yani? Ridiculous. فلا عبرة بقول بعض المؤلفين إن الذي يعتقد أن الله جسم لا يكفر. لا. No notice is given, no importance, no weight is given to these authors that say or said that whoever believes Allah is a jism, then they are not kuffar. Why is no importance given to that statement? وذلك لأن الجسمية تنافي الألوهية. That's because being a body, having a corporeal form, having a length, width, and a depth, having a size and having a shape, this contradicts godhood. Where is the being unique? Okay, which is Allah, right? Where is the being unique if supposedly God has a length, width, and a depth, and a size and a shape? Because I have a length, a width, and a depth, and a size and a shape. Okay, cats have lengths, widths, sizes, and shapes, and masses and volumes. Where is the being unique? How is supposedly this thing that some people call God? How is it unique then? If it's made up of certain pieces, the chair is made up of smaller pieces, the door is made up of smaller pieces. That's what it means. Because of that, it constitutes having a shape and a size. Okay, if somebody says Allah has a shape and a size, then how would he be God? Allah is wahdahu la sharika lah, unique. He has no partners in anything, no similars, no likes. But this thing that these people call God, a'udhu billah, that has a shape and a size, it's like the fridge. It's like the wall. It's like the cupboard. It's like the bag. How is it unique? How does it deserve to be God? God means al-uluhiyya. Okay, this is one of the attributes of God is that he is unique. He's one. There's nothing like him. Where's the uniqueness then? If he also has a shape and a size, if he is supposedly in the sky, if Allah supposedly is in the sky, okay, in a place, well, the angels are in the sky, the arsh is above the sky. On the night of al-Mi'raj, the prophets were in the sky. Bayt al-Ma'mur is in the sky. Sidratul Muntaha is in the sky. So how many things supposedly is Allah going to be like? How is He unique then? This thing that they worship. How? It's not. How is it different to the cow that the Hindus worship? The cow's on the earth, and this thing that they call Allah is in the sky. It's in a place, the cow's in a place. The cow has a shape and a size, and that thing that they claim to be Allah is in the sky, has a shape and a size. It has a mass, it has body parts. What's that? A'udhu billah. Sharr iblis. Sharr iblis. عجائب وغرائب. فإنه لو كان الله جسما لطيفا كالنور والظلام والريح أو جسما كثيفا كالإنسان والنجم والشمس والقمر لم يكن خالقا لهذه الأجسام لأن العقل لا يقبل أن يخلق الجسم جسما. So, had it been the case that Allah was a jism, i.e. had a length, width and depth, that is non-palpable like light and darkness and like the wind, or had it been the case that Allah was something that is a jism that has length, width and depth that you could grasp like a person or a star or the sun or the moon, if that was the case, then He wouldn't be the creator of these bodies, these ajsam. Why? Because the intellect does not accept for a jism to create a jism. ولو كان يصح أن يخلق الجسم جسما لصح للشمس أن تكون إلها لكن العقل يمنع ذلك. And had it been correct, had it been valid for a jism, something with a length, width and a depth, something with a size, had it been correct for a jism to create a jism, then it would also be correct, valid for the sun to be God. But the intellect prevents that. Wallahu ta'ala amara ibadahu bisti'mal al-aql. And Allah ordered His slaves, commanded them to use the intellect. وَقَدْ قَالَ تَعَالَى And indeed Allah, the Exalted, revealed, أَوَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا فِي مَلَكُوتِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala ordered for the people to look into the dominion of the skies and the earth, to look at what Allah created, to look using the mind. وأثنى الله تعالى على احتجاج إبراهيم عليه السلام على عدم صحة الألوهية للكوكب والقمر والشمس بكون الثلاثة جسما يتحول من حال إلى حال والتحول من أوصاف الجسم فدل ذلك على أن الله ليس جسما ولا يكون متصفا بصفات الجسم كالتحول من حال إلى حال كتحول الشمس من المشرق إلى المغرب. Allah praised, Allah the Exalted. When we say the Exalted, it means the one that is not like the creation. It doesn't mean the one that is in a high place above the arsh. A'udhu billah. And Allah praised the proof that Ibrahim alayhi salam used to show the invalidity of godhood for the stars, the moon and the sun, by showing that these three are bodies. They have length, width, and depth, and that they change. They go from state to state, and going from state to state, being altered and changed, is among the attributes of a jism. So this shows us that Allah is not a jism and is not attributed with the attributes of a jism. What are attributes of a jism? Color, all the colors, sizes, lengths and widths, textures also. All of these are attributes of jism. So neither is Allah a jism, something that has length, width, and depth, or something that even is 2D. Allah is free of that. And likewise, the attributes of these jisms, Allah is not attributed with them either because He created them. Like moving from one state to another, like the movement of the sun from the east to the west. And that's where we will stop today, insha'Allah. So the first question, someone said, يا عبد الله ماذا تقول؟ دعنا من هذا الآن يا عبد الله. Ali. A person doesn't understand how kufr can be predestined for someone. She said, you said, you can say to this person that Allah revealed in the Quran لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. Allah is not asked about what He does. Rather, the people will be asked. And Allah is the creator of good and evil. To say otherwise, to say that Allah only created good and does not create evil, this is blasphemy, because creating is an attribute of God. Allah is God because He creates, has the power to create. So, why is it that somebody might die upon kufr, or why is it that somebody might die upon al-iman? Allah Ta'ala willed it to be the case. This is it. Now, this question actually, to say, why would God want for me to die as a kafir? This is something that we don't go into. Why is it? What is the wisdom behind it? How would we know? Truly, how would we know? Subhanallah. But we submit. Some of these nuances, they can be the things that prevent people from fully understanding. We are not supposed to understand everything. It's true. We can reach with the intellect, okay, as the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he taught us, we can reach a long way with the intellect, but then even then there are limits. About this topic specifically, about predestination, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, إِذَا ذُكِرَ الْقَدَرُ فَأَمْسِكُوا. If al-qadr is mentioned, then stop. Yani, go to a certain extent and stop. You won't get the answers to everything. So how is it that kufr can be predestined for someone? Hey, that's because Allah is the creator. Because saying otherwise, saying that kufr is not predestined, this leads to grave danger. This leads to saying that Allah doesn't create. So to be safe from saying that, we have to say this. Anyway, barakallahu fikum. لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.